Hey, what's up my dudes? Welcome back to my shop. Today we've got a really cool experiment that we're going to be trying out. We're actually going to be doing two different rings. I'm going to try to heat darken some superconductor as well as do the same thing to meteorite. I'm going to attempt to put a black oxide finish on it. But before we get started, I know it's been a while since I've shown you guys around in the shop, so I just thought I'd kind of update you and show you how things are going here. So we've been growing pretty quickly here. We're trying to expand as fast as we can. And so we're just trying to utilize my garage for as long as possible, just because that's the cheapest way to do it. I don't want to have to pay for shop space. So it's getting pretty crowded in here, and you can see over here we've got our 3 lathes set up along this wall. We've got this on this old table that I built quite a while ago, and it's lower than we like, as well as just not a great surface to work on. We like working on the metal. So that's the reason we've got this table here, as well as we got another one in the box still waiting to be set up, and then our 5th lathe right here. So that's what we're working on right now. We got a bunch of Black Friday orders to be catching up on, so that's the reason for all the lathes and all the kind of organization that we're trying to do in order to handle all of it. You can see over here I've still got my lathe set up. That's pretty much exactly how it was set up when we did the first shop tour. So nothing much has changed there. We've still got our supply shelves over there. I did scoot the table in the middle of the room over to the side, and that was to give us a little bit of extra room, because now we've got so many guys in here that it gets a bit crowded. But anyways, I hope that was interesting. I know I had a couple guys in the comments who were just curious about kind of what it looked like around the shop lately, so that was just kind of a 20-second version. So hopefully that quick look caught you guys back up to speed. Alright, so for the video, like I said, we're going to be trying to darken some rings. You can see here I've got the Superconductor Ring, and that was from the video earlier in the week. This video is actually really well received. You guys seem to really like that, as did I. This ring is so cool looking. Kind of looks like a magma monster or something, I've realized. So I really like that. We're also just going to be doing a classic Superconductor Ring here. And then in this acid right now, I've actually got a Meteorite Ring. So we're going to be doing a black oxide finish on that. And we'll see how well that works. I haven't tried it out, so I'm hoping we'll have good results. It works just fine on most iron-based items, and meteorite is, well, at least the meteorite we use, that's mostly iron. So I'm hoping for good results there. The way we do that is we heat it up with a blowtorch till it's red hot, and then just quench it in the motor oil we've got here. So this is actually the first time I'm trying the black oxide finish on a meteorite. So I'm hoping it goes well. If you don't know, the meteorites I use are mostly iron, and the black oxide finish, that works really well on things that are made out of iron. So I'm hoping that that'll work. My biggest concern is that the pattern won't show through. So I've got it in this acid here. I've had it in here for about an hour, and that's a little bit longer than I normally do. And that's so the etching on it will stand out a little bit better, and hopefully we'll still be able to see that pattern. And if you didn't know, the way we're going to do that is we just heat the meteorite ring up till it's red hot, and then we'll quench it in this motor oil right here, and that gives it a black coating over the whole ring. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with the superconductor rings. The idea here is just to heat it up, and the superconductor, if you didn't know, is made out of titanium niobium. It's an alloy, and I had the thought from when I was doing the Timascus video that you can heat colorize Timascus. It's just made of titanium, so why not an alloy of titanium? So we'll see how this turns out. I have no idea what the results are going to be, or if it's even possible. We might be able to get some colors. I'm not sure. It might just make it darker, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so we just finished doing the heat treatment on the rings. You can see the two, you can kind of see the differences between the two. So on this one, it's still, I let it cool down for just a little bit. Yeah, it's okay to touch. I want to clean this up. One thing I noticed was that this wire, it was causing some like corrosion and different colored flames to come off of it, and it like scorched the ring. It's and that might be the reason for some of that inconsistency there, but I think a lot of this will come off. So I'm going to give this a good wipe down, see how it looks after that. But I think next time we're definitely going to pass on using this wire for here. And then same thing on this one. It's not as visible anymore, but it did have a pretty bad scorch mark that came off the wire, so something to consider. But I do think these have some really cool, awesome colors to them. You can see there's purple in this section right here. It's more of an amber color here. Amber with some blue. And then the copper, it just looks amazing. It's got a cool, distressed, almost looking pattern to it. And so we can do even some further experimentation by soaking this in vinegar, and we could possibly scrub off any of the coloring on the copper, but not on the titanium niobium. So we'll mess around with that, see how that looks. So we'll mess around with that. It might end up making it look worse, but that's why we're taking the video recording of it now so we can see how it looks. Let me know what you think after I do it, obviously. But we're going to go ahead and set these aside and then work on the meteorite ring. So you see I've still got it soaking in the acid there. Now I'm just pulling out a cup of water. And I've got baking soda here. Just dumping that in there. The reason for the baking soda is that it neutralizes the acid. Baking soda is a base. And so we put the ring with the acid all over it into this cup, and it'll make it safe to touch. Okay, got that in there. I'm being careful to touch it the least amount that I can because I don't want to get any of my finger oils on them. But that's looking really good. That's got a really nice edge to it. Like I said earlier, I left it in there for quite a while, so it should have an etch that's a little more deep than a typical ring etch that I'll do. Okay, now we're ready to go. I'm just going to hit it with the blowtorch. The idea is that I want to get the entire ring glowing red hot, so it might take a few minutes. The problem that meteorite rings can have is that they do oxidize if you're not careful with them. And a black oxide finish is actually really protective from rust. So depending on how this turns out, this might actually be a good option for me to protect my rings from rusting. Okay, so it is giving off a bit of a faint glow, especially if I concentrate the torch in one area. But it is so bright in this room that you can hardly even see any of it. So I'm going to call that good. So I'm going to make sure we're good to go here. Alright, hit record on the GoPro. Here we go. That was pretty cool, seeing that smoke come off of there. Okay, one thing to note, probably not the safest thing doing this in a glass container. So if you're doing this at home, definitely don't recommend that. And you can see here, wow, that is really dark. I think that worked. The question now is going to be is if enough of the meteorite pattern can show through to make it actually look cool. I can see a little bit of it, but we're going to get a much better look once I wipe it all off, get it cleaned up. Alright, we've got all 3 rings done here. I just cleaned them up. I did use some of that vinegar to clean off the scale that was stuck on the copper. And like I guessed, it didn't affect the titanium niobium. So this is still a lot darker. And then the copper is super bright. So this is a really cool contrast that it has. It's almost like black and pink. looking. So really happy with the way this turned out. This one, I think maybe because the wire, maybe I didn't clean it off well enough before. It looks like it's got like just some impurity to it. So this is something I'll probably throw this in the rock tumbler to get rid of any of the patterns that we put on it, and then try it again. Maybe I'll post it on Instagram if it turns out well. So if you're not following me, make sure to follow me there. And just so you know, that's also where I post any of the discount codes to my website. So if you're not following me, do that. And last but not least, we have the Blackened Meteorite Ring. And I just love the way this looks. It's a super stealthy look that it has to it, but you can still see a lot of the patterns that it has. So I'll try to show this off, maybe reflect some of the lighting off the patterns for you there. And I'll throw in some close-up shots in the photo booth where I've got it on the turntable, so that should give you a better look at some of the details this has, because it's pretty difficult to see because it's such a subtle look to it that it has. And so I'll get a really nice up-close shot for you guys there. And then these other two rings, I think by far my favorite out of all the three rings would be the Superconductor. I really like the darker look that it has. It really helps contrast against the copper on there. I think that side view, I think that looks amazing right there. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. This was just kind of a fun experiment, but I think this might be something that would be worthwhile putting as options on my website. So if you want to see it on there, let me know in the comments. It wouldn't be something that I would charge much for, if at all, just because it's such a simple thing to do, just heat up the ring. So that might be a fun customization that you can do on a ring and not cost you a bunch. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know this was a bit more of a lighthearted video, but it was two experiments that I wanted to try for a while. So let me know your thoughts. Do you like the format that I did here? Do you like seeing maybe once in a while I post a less formal video where it's not a ring tutorial, but it's something a little more fun like this, and just where I'm live on camera and then just showing the progression of the shop as we grow? So I'd really appreciate that. Just leave me any of your feedback down in the comments. I'll be reading through every single one of those comments. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.